We have a new addition to the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pass, one that snuck up on me. Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64. Little did we know that this little RPG released towards the end of the N64's lifespan would spawn an entire sub-series, one that led to an amazing sequel and then a dozen or so myths. In celebration of this re-release, let's take a trip down memory lane. So let's backtrack a bit to the origins of the game. We'll need to go back to the SNES classic, Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. Now I could gush about that game all day, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole now. Basically, it was a turn-based RPG which was born from a beautiful marriage between Nintendo and Squaresoft, which would lead to a brutal divorce just a few years later. So imagine little old me's surprise as I was scrolling through Nintendo Power one day and saw this. And then imagine little old me's surprise when this arrived a few months later. Me and the rest of the world were confused. Paper Mario? What was next? Cardboard Zelda? But typical of young me, I bought pretty much anything Mario, and let me tell you, I beat this game in one sitting, and I had the most fun I ever had with paper since I learned how to make one of those paper fortune teller thingies. Much like its kinda sorta predecessor, it features turn-based combat in which you press attack buttons right before the attack animation ends to do bonus damage. And the process is reversed when you attack to prevent damage. This system also carried over to the Mario and Luigi series and would become integral to the combat system of both. However, it does have some cool new mechanics outside of battles. Your party members each have a unique ability which they can use on your adventure. You have a paratrooper who can fly you across gaps, a bomb that blasts through walls, and a boo that can turn you invisible, just to name a few. These special abilities are heavily used and usually required in order to progress through the particular part of the game you find them in, much like items do in The Legend of Zelda. However, there are portions of the game that require the help of previously met members as well. Plot-wise, it's standard Mario fare, except everything's made out of paper. Bowser kidnaps the princess with a magical item and 7 star spirits to save the day. In addition to your party members, you'll meet the standard Mario Rogues Gallery, Goombas, Koopas, Shy Guys, and Boos. I guess if I could offer one real criticism, it's that the game doesn't really incorporate the whole paper thing into the gameplay, just aesthetically. Something which its amazing GameCube sequel does wonderfully. I mean, come on, the N64 just couldn't handle paper airplanes? Thank God for the GameCube. I mean, it's still bright and colorful, just what you'd expect from a Mario game. And yeah, the storybook-esque presentation is nice, but I just wish they incorporated it more into the gameplay itself. The game was a perfect storm of Super Mario RPG nostalgia and the sheer lack of RPGs on the Nintendo 64. If you're looking for a compelling RPG narrative, you've come to the wrong place. But it has solid gameplay, a colorful and diverse world, a wonderful soundtrack, and just an intangible fun factor that offers a little something extra for ordinary Mario fans. Hardcore RPG fans might not be too enthralled, but speaking as a huge RPG fan myself, sometimes something a little more lighthearted can be a refreshing experience. Look no further than the more recent success of games like South Park: The Stick of Truth. I think it's a really great series, and I'm really sad to see it in its current state. Just when it looks like Nintendo's gonna save it, it just doesn't work out. There's a difference between innovating and taking chances versus throwing any old idea onto the Mario board and seeing what sticks. But all in all, Mario and RPG fans should at least give it a spin. You may be pleasantly surprised. Now, speaking of innovating classic Nintendo IPs, I'm going back to my Cardboard Zelda fan project. I just hope I can finish before they send me their cease and desist letter. Aw, man.